Hey lovely people, welcome back. I am Michaela, and this week on British Losers it is all about JANOFEST. So this was a concert that me and Amy went to this year, the 21st of March it was, and it was down in London. And obviously I'm from Manchester and Amy's from Worcestershire, so it wasn't feasible to all go together. So we went down separately and I was a bus and I went by Megabus with my bestest friend Gillian. And we paid £2 to get there. So it was a pretty good bargain, apart from the fact that we actually had to be there at the bus station for like 4 AM and it was madness, and we got to London for about 9 and Amy and her friend Hannah were already there. They'd only been waiting for about 20 minutes, so they met up with us and then we got a taxi, and we had like the funniest like Uber driver ever, and I can't remember his name, but we have a selfie with him and he was really random and he did not know where he was going whatsoever. We finally, after ages, we got to the hotel and we checked in, and we got checked in by this really nice man called Winton. Oh, I can't remember his name now. But yeah, he was lovely, and only one room was ready, so everyone got to my room, and it was the actual day of the concert, so we all started getting ready slowly and started having a couple of drinks. And Amy and Hannah didn't manage to get meet and greet, but me and Gillian did, so we had to be there a little bit earlier. They got sound checks, they were just like, oh okay, so we'll walk down with you. Then the best thing ever happened, and I know this is about JANOFEST and all about the Janoskians, blah, 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 whatever. However, I've been talking to this girl online for 2 years, 2 whole freaking years, and we've never met up. She's from Essex and she is younger than me, but we just get along so well. We FaceTime all the time, we text all the time, and she is literally like one of my bestest friends in the whole entire world. Like, I can tell her anything. We have so many mutual interests, and I think I was more nervous about meeting her than I was the Janoskians themselves. But I texted her, I was like, oh I got her here, and then she was like, oh I'm at Starbucks. So I walked across to Starbucks and I was a little bit nervous, to be honest. I kind of walked over to it and I saw her through the window, and I just sort of turned back and I was like, oh my god, this is actually happening. It wasn't quite 2 years, nearly 2 years after initially talking to this girl. Like, a lot can happen in 2 years, and she's just suddenly there. And she saw me and she was with a couple of her friends, Chloe and Emily, and I spoke to Chloe a little bit as well beforehand, so it was nice to see her. But we just don't have the friendship that me and Katie actually have. And as soon as Katie saw me, she just ran full pell across the little road that was there, and we literally just hugged it out for a good 5 minutes, and that was actually recorded. Hi! Are you okay?
We're gonna get run over. Get out of the road. Yeah, we just want to get out the road. And just carry the head.
So that was just like amazing. Like, I've had quite a lot of online friends since I was like 14, but it's never built up so much for 2 years. And like, I kind of thought that maybe I'd never ever meet her, but it happened. And Katie, if you're watching this, which I know you will be, I love ya. You know this because all day I just kept hugging you, and we just took about 1 million selfies. So back to JANOFEST. So everybody walked with us to the meet and greet line, and we stood chatting. And even though they didn't have meet and greet, they just stood with us forever, and we had a good old chinwag. And then it was our turn, and I started getting really nervous because I thought, I've met Jay before when I stalked them at the hotel, and I've seen them, but I've never actually spoken properly to them, so my heart was like absolutely pounding. But as soon as I got up there was like another queue, And we were just like, oh god, okay. So we were speaking to two girls in front of us, and I can't really remember their names, but I do know I have them on Twitter somewhere. So we were talking to them, and then Mariam came out and I got a selfie with her. One girl came out and she was hyperventilating so much she collapsed, and the paramedics had to be called, and it was absolutely manic. And I was like, oh my god, is this going to be me? Am I going to be doing this? But I thought, no, come on Michaela. So we were at the front of the queue, and I had a letter in my pocket from me and one from Amy, because Amy was really upset that she couldn't get meet and greet. And we went in, and there was another freaking queue. There were 6 of us though this time. There wasn't that many of us. So I was number 5 and Gillian was number 6, and number 1, 2 and 3 went in, and James was like stood behind the couch. So I was just like, James, can I have a hug? And he was like, yeah. And then I was just like, oh, okay. And then he turned around like the opposite way, and I was like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. Like, I've just asked for a hug and he's just completely ignored me, and I already look ridiculous enough as it is. But I was like, oh my god. But then he turned back round and he scooped me up into his arms, and he smelled absolutely amazing, and he just gave me the best hug that I've ever received in my entire life. It was literally orgasmic. It was amazing. So then it got to my turn, and Mariam had been live streaming it, and she was like stood in front of the boys live streaming some of the meet and greet. But then she was like, I think she went to get a chair or something, so she was like, Luke, can you hold this? And then so I sort of just like was talking to them for a little second, and then they were like, actually you need to get on with it. So for some reason Luke was stood up, and this is really embarrassing on my behalf, but it's really funny. You had to sit between Beau and Luke, and to be honest it wasn't really worth the £80. So I was adamant that I was going to get more time than other people had said, because everyone had been slagging it off on Twitter all day, and I was just like, oh my god, I've paid £80. Sorry, a bird just flew past. I've paid £80 and I'm literally I've just paid for a pay and hay. So as I went to sit down, like Luke sat down at the same time as me, and he sort of like budged me out the way slightly, so I ended up with half a freaking butt cheek on Beau. So it was a bit of a conversation starter, because I was like real embarrassed. I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, like my massive arse is on your knee. And he just laughed, and he was like, oh my god, it's fine. And he gave me a hug, and he was like, are you okay, what's your name, are you looking forward to later on? And he was talking, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, Beau isn't even my favourite. Luke's my favourite. So I just sort of just like, I kissed his cheek, because why the hell not? And then I turned to look at Luke, and then it was just like, it was just the best thing of my entire life. Like, I've been lusting after this boy for like 3 years now. I don't know, I'm older by quite a lot, and I don't freaking care, because it was amazing. And I don't really remember talking to Daniel. I don't really remember Daniel being there, but because once I just saw Luke, I was just all eyes on Luke. And then the guy was like, take a picture, and I was just like, and they're horribly disgusting, but Luke's got his arm around me, and I am ever fucking grateful for them. But then, the security guard tried to pull me up, but I was just having none of it. I was like, no, no, no. So I pulled my arm back off him, and I looked at Luke, and I was like, I actually love you. Like, you are my favourite. And he, like, hugged me, and then he obviously said it to everybody, but he whispered in my ear, like, I love you heaps. That they were his exact words. I love you heaps. To me, that was near enough a marriage proposal, because inside I was like, ah, like cue excitement, but on the outside I was like, you know me, an adult. But yeah, so I hugged the life out of him, and Then I, for some awkward reason, told him that I was 24. Like, why would I even do that? But he was like, oh my god, you're even older than Mariam. So we had a bit of a chuckle about that. And then the security guard was really getting a bit pissed off at me then. So I kind of walked off. But then I remembered the letters in my pocket. So I like walked back, and it was okay because it was only Gillian and she was talking to Beau. So I passed him these and I was like, please read these. And I doubt he's ever read them. But I just told him all the reasons why I love him, and the fact that since I've been in this fandom, I have been accepted. Like, I kind of thought everyone would be like, oh my god, you're so much older than everybody. Oh my god, you're this, you're that. But no, everyone is amazing, and this is the best fandom to be in. And it was just so good. And then he was like, oh yeah, no worries, and he put them in his pocket, and I just sort of walked off, and I was walking really slow because I was watching Gillian, and her favourite's Beau, and I was just like, oh, I felt like a mother onlooking her firstborn having their first boyfriend. It was so cute. And then Jay turned to me and he like passed me something, and I was like, what is this? And he was like, pictures. And I was like, pictures? I don't understand. But I took them off him anyway, and I slightly caressed his hand. And then I went outside, and then I looked at the pictures, and it was this girl who looked nothing like me. So I just popped them on the table. So if you lost your pictures at JANOFEST and you have dark hair, then security probably have them, because Jay gave them to me. I don't know why he had them. I don't know how he got them. I just don't know. But yeah. So that was the meet and greet part of it. Then we went outside and we went to see Amy and Hannah and Katie and Emily and Chloe. And we had like a couple of selfies and some cute little photos of us. And I told them all about the goings on in meet and greet. And then we were like, okay, we've got like 2 hours to kill, so we're going to walk back to the hotel and have a few drinks and freshen up. And we just did that. We went back and we had a little bit of a chill, and I'd tweeted saying, is anybody in this hotel? And somebody had tweeted me back saying, yeah, I am. So I'd give her our room number, and I can't remember what it was now. And I was like, come round whenever. Like, obviously you'll be at the concert, so you'll be in the hotel at similar times to us. So she was like, yeah, okay. And I was like, I'd never spoken to this girl before in my life, but friends. So then I thought that doors opened at 7:30. But then when I checked the tickets at 10 to 7, it actually said 7 o'clock. So then we started panicking, and Katie was ringing me like, where the fuck are you? And I was just like, oh my god. So we rushed there and we queued up, and we accidentally cut in by accident. We didn't realise that the queue bended round. So we just joined on what we thought was the end. Like, we were not intentionally pushing in. And then some old woman behind me was like, oh, everyone's got to get in there at the same point, aren't they? And I just like, I nearly turned around and was like, yeah, I don't really like push-inners. But luckily I didn't, because then a little bit later on, that's when I realised that me and Gillian had perhaps maybe pushed in, and it was awkward then. But then we went in, and it was like block A, B and C. Oh no, it wasn't, it was B, C, D. And we were in block C, which was like the middle front block, and we was the 3rd row back, and we were the 2 end ones, so we had amazing seats, and Jack and Jack were there, and they were amazing. And oh my god, I have so many videos that it's not even worthwhile putting them in, because you'll be able to find them on YouTube somewhere. They are amazing, and I hope that they do come and tour just themselves. And then Fady came on, and this isn't an order, but Fady came on, and he just mimed. Like, he has a couple of good songs, but they were all mimed, and I don't really see why. But yeah, so he was okay. Luke Friend was there, Collins Key was there, and he was like a magician. And then the gods themselves came onto the stage, and everyone looked like they were having an amazing time. Gina came on, and that was just amazing, and she looked so proud of everyone, and it was just so lovely. And I would happily do it every day of the week, because it was by far one of the best concerts that I have ever been to, and that is saying a lot. So then we went back to the hotel and we just literally just chilled out for the rest of the night. Like we got back at about half 11, 12 o'clock, so there wasn't that much of the night left. And then we were all like, okay, we're gonna go to sleep because we don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. Like the boys might tweet or something might happen and we can go and stalk them, or we can just go around London. So the next day I got a tweet saying that they had actually left and were not coming back. So we just sort of stayed in bed and had like a shower, and then the girl from the night before that had tweeted me saying she was in the same hotel texted me saying that she was having breakfast and that she would come round. So I was like, oh okay. So everyone piled into my room again, we're packing up, getting ready, and then she knocked on the door and we opened it, and my first thought was that she's taller than what she looked like, than what I thought she was going to be. And everybody, ladies and gentlemen, that was Shawnee Guy. Me and Shawnee have literally become inseparable since meeting each other for about 20 minutes before she left, and we talk to each other all the time, and she has her own YouTube channel, and I forgot to link it in the last one, but I will definitely link it today. If you go and see, she's also a Janoski fan, James Arthur fan, can't remember anybody else fan. But yeah, so then she left and we said goodbye, and we didn't ever get a picture, and I don't know why. Like, that is my one regret from the weekend. So then Jack and Jack tweeted to go and meet them, so we were rushing round to get ready, and then I accidentally left a bag because I was like so rushing, so we had to go back, and our good old friend Vinton came and let us back into the room, and we got it, and that's when we took the opportunity to take a selfie with him. So we then got another Uber taxi to Hyde Park because that's where the clues had been leading us, and we decided to get out on like the furthest spot away from where Jack and Jack were actually going to be. So we had to trek and trek for miles and miles, and we finally saw like a big crowd of girls, and I for one never thought that many people was going to be there. I thought it was going to be like 30 people. I thought that everyone had gone home that morning or was doing something else, but no, there was like 300 people there. And when we finally got to meet Jack and Jack, they were being mobbed, and this girl fell over and somebody stood on her chest and she couldn't breathe. And I know if it was me in that situation, oh sorry, my camera just fell because I decided to break my tripod just before filming this. So I've currently got my camera in my selfie stick in my lipstick holder. So resourceful. So I helped her to the side, and she was breathing, but she was like, I can't do an impression, but she wasn't breathing very well. So I got someone to call an ambulance, and I got some water, and I was just telling her like funny moments of the weekend and just about myself. And to this day, I've never found this girl, and I'd just like to make sure that she is okay. Her name was Jaffa. She was there with her sister. She was 14. But yeah, so I kind of missed Jack and Jack, and then Jack and Jack got into a white van and drove off, and they kept circling because they left Galinsky's mum and dad behind, and I took opportunity to get a selfie with them. So, well, I asked Galinsky's mum for a photo, but I never actually asked Galinsky's dad, which you will see on my selfies. And we went back into Hyde Park because that was just sort of like on the outskirts, and policemen came and they were like, girls, it's been shut down. Well, we kind of heard a rumour that they were going to come back if we made 2 straight lines, so we all went back into like 2 straight lines in a fashion, and then the police officer was like, no, they're not going to come back, they've been completely shut down, so you need to go. So I then proceeded to tell this police officer, like, did you never have a dream? Did you not want to meet Whitney Houston, the Carpenters, ABBA, when you was a young boy? And a stupid policeman shut it down, and he laughed and told me he was a fan of none of them. He was actually a fan of, I think he said Journey South, But I'm pretty sure they were on X Factor a couple of years ago. Maybe he didn't say Journey South. He said some old band that I'd never heard of, and he said that it was actually just people could end up getting hurt, so he wasn't. And then I was like, but look how good they are, and I got up a Jack and Jack video and showed him the video, and he said that Galinsky could be Jedward's brother. And I playfully smacked him. I was like, oh, Nathan, because we found out his name was Nathan, and we also took a selfie with him. And all in all, it was an amazing weekend. It was one of the best concerts I've ever been to. It was so good. It was like, it wasn't just the Janoskians, it was like all different people, which made it even better. But yeah, I saw obviously my good friend Katie, and the lights just decided to go in. I met up with my good friend Katie, and I freaking love her. I met Shawnee, I met Hannah for the first time, because she was going to be one of the original British Losers, but then she couldn't really commit. Gillian was going to be a British Loser too, but she couldn't commit. So now it's me and Amy, and she will probably tell you a completely different story than what I have, because she was not at meet and greet. She did sound check. So sorry I've gone on a little bit in this video, but I just wanted to get everything out, because it was just such a good weekend. Like, I still think about it now, and I didn't stop smiling for like the full week after. And yeah, so it's great. Tell me about your JANOFEST stories in the comments box below or on Twitter, because let's face it, it was the best concert that anyone's ever been to. But yeah, so that's it for this week. Please subscribe, because it does honestly mean a lot to me and Amy. Follow us on Twitter. We are following everybody back at the moment, obviously. And follow us on Instagram. We have like 1 follower, which happens to be Katie. But yeah, so that's it, and I love you all.